Welcome in. Seven Rivers Racing, KQE GTV, coming off a wild weekend at the Crosse Speedway. And one more night of regular season racing at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway. I'm Dan Dyker. Thanks for joining us on the program. Last night of weekly racing at the Crosse Speedway last weekend. It's really hard to believe that we just got all the way through the summer that fast. And one more night of weekly racing up at the MTS Dirt Track in Fountain City before we set our sights on three huge weekends still to come at both racetracks. As we do every program, we start things off with a video recap of the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. We start off with the NASCAR late models, where the points battle will go into Oktoberfest. Now, as you watch this video, we had a little bit of delay getting this race underway this past Saturday night. This was the opening green flag start at a nice chalk field right here, but Mike Kennecke, who's just had the worst luck over the past 5 weeks, brings out the caution before we even get into the opening lap, and you can see just that log jam as Matt Henderson and Jeremy Wagner, Brandon Burr, all of them just want to pull away from the field. And Kennecke, luckily enough, all he did that weekend was wear out a set of brake pads. Now, we go back to an official restart. Green flag drops again, and as you're going to see here, well, we just didn't get a chance to get the show underway a second time. Billy Doc Niles and Brandon Berg, but this time it's going to happen up in the corners with Mike Carlson, Jeremy Wagner, Skylar Holzhausen, right in the front of the Harley Jankowski. Degenhardt off the track back on. He collects Steve Owen. And we're going to slow this down for you just a tad bit and let you watch for yourself what happened. Matt Henderson just squeaking, or Cole Howland, that is, in Matt Henderson's car. Just got by that, but I saw the in-car Harley Jankowski's video on his GoPro, and man, he took a hard shot from Skylar Holzhausen, who was driving one of Brad Powell's backups. So we finally, after a third attempt, get the race underway. Had a pretty entertaining 24 laps. We're going to show you the last two. As what a weekend for Steve Carlson. He was able to pull out a feature win after being involved in a wreck. Restarted in the back of the field, passed only 5 cars to get the lead, and then ended up cruising on to victory lane. And that's going to leave that points battle between he and Brad Powell to come down to Oktoberfest. Powell now 33 points behind Steve Carlson. And what a good showing for Matt Henderson and his new teammate, per se. Cole Howland wrecked his car 2 weekends ago. Cole ended up running the backup car of Matt Henderson. He took third. Henderson took second. And you see Steve Carlson right here just doing what he's done all season long. And that is get to the front. So Carlson enters Oktoberfest with a 33-point lead over Brad Powell. He was crowned the Budweiser Dash champion, one of 3 crowned on Saturday night. To the one of the most entertaining battles we've had over the past 6 weeks, we go to the Grand National Sportsmen. We'll show you the last 2 laps right here. And for quite a while, the gentlemen that are in the top 4 in points were running in the top 5 of this race. And you knew at any second somebody was going to jump out and make some kind of a move. Really didn't happen here, as we had a lot of separation. As you see, Nick Clemens pretty much running in the wide open by himself. But right in front of him, well, it was Brian Hesselberg. The Grape Ape had a great night here and wins this one by about 6 car lengths. You see the third place car deep in the point standings. That's Steve Bachman. Still don't have a nickname for that guy or that car yet, but I'm going to get one here soon enough. And maybe before Oktoberfest, Bachman's going to have a nickname. So what a finish we had right here, as a caution at the halfway point led Hesselberg to win this race right here, though Bachman was challenging for the top spot for quite a while. So heading into Oktoberfest, Greg Scheck has a 6-point lead over Steve Bachman. That can go either way. Matter of fact, if Steve Bachman were to qualify fastest on Oktoberfest race weekend and Greg Scheck out of the top 6, right after qualifying, we would be tied. That's how close and how interesting this thing's going to get. And Nick Clemens, who we talked on the program about 4 weeks ago, wasn't even in the talking of a point championship after having a couple of bad weekend wrecks. Well, he found himself back in the point standings, and he's only 18 behind Scheck, only 12 behind Bachman. So those three, Jamie Dummer still mathematically in it, but he's going to need a whole lot to happen on Oktoberfest race weekend for he to get the championship. Greg Scheck also crowned the 2014 Sportsman Dash champion. The battle for the Thunderstocks championship got quite interesting this past Saturday night, and it's Jason Bolster's to lose, as we sure the last two of this one. It was Jason Bolster finishing second in the feature race, has a 4-point lead over feature winner Jordan Myers. Myers won the dash race earlier in the night, but Bolster took home the 2014 Thunderstock Dash championship. Now, you see Bill Schott leading this one right here. He ends up going on to win the feature, but a post-race inspection found out his right height was a little bit too high, though that's the best race I've seen Schott had there at La Crosse. And could expect to see some good things out of him if he runs La Crosse next year. But across the line, it was just like that close. Tom Farr just misses winning that one by about a quarter of a car length. So Jordan Myers wins. Thomas Farr takes second. Jason Bolster now only a 4-point lead over Jordan Myers, and it's going to be interesting to see what those two can do door-to-door during Oktoberfest race weekend. The street stocks were back on La Crosse Speedway this past Saturday night. Well, sure, the last two of this one here, that's a dirt track driver. Couldn't believe Bobby Ford Jr. actually showed up this weekend. First time I think he's been on asphalt. Behind him was Kyle Rozek, one of the fastest escorts you're going to see. But that red and white Pontiac Grand Prix was Charles Schwabenauer. That was his first time on the action track quarter mile, the street stocks this year, and you'll see that red and white beauty up there in the corners. Didn't even have a mark on that car by the time he was done. I got a Grand Prix just like that sitting in my driver that's red. I'm thinking about putting that thing together and getting it on the track. May not paint it white. I don't want to look like that nice one right there, but before the end of the year, I think you have to see what happens. And that end of the year, matter of fact, comes up this Saturday night as we have the Street Stock Championship, which will be in the middle of two enduro races. And we're going to talk about that here in our next segment. Also, the Outlaws were back out. Only had two of them. It was Wayne Smith and Cole Schulze. Schulze goes on to win the feature, and I think Schulze has between a 1 to a 3-point lead between those two as they'll duke it out heading into Oktoberfest race weekend as well. When we come back, we're going to talk about an interesting race coming up not only this Saturday night, but next Saturday at the La Crosse Speedway. And our guest in the program, you just saw him right there in one of those Sportsmen races, and he's got a bullseye in the front and the back of his racing outfit. We're going to bring him in as well. Segment 2 coming up next on 7 Rivers Racing.
Get ready for the Thunder!
The Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Your Friday night racing destination.
Every Friday night.
Super stocks, modified.
600 mods.
Pure stocks, street stocks, B-mods.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style. Tickets $12 for adults, $10 for seniors. Students free with an ID. And this year, kids 17 and under free with an adult admission. Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder!
Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
Some of the best moments in life happen at home. American Standard Heating and Air works smarter to make them all more comfortable.
For a limited time, save over $600 on select American Standard systems. Call now for details.
Holman American Legion Post 284. It's all about veterans' rights, quality of life. The Legion belongs to the veterans it serves. The American Legion supports Holman High School sports and local NASCAR racing. Did you know the Legion is open to the public? Stop by for a cold one. Tuesday lunch is a home-cooked meal. Supper is Buck Burgers. Thursday, it's tacos. They can be the place for your wedding reception or meeting. Holman American Legion. It's for veterans and for the people of Holman.
At Cousin Subs, we never settle for good. We always strive for better. Since 1972, we've been creating our signature Deli Fresh subs. We start with fresh bread that's baked every day. Then we freshly chop vegetables and slice the meat daily. It's how we do it, and always have. Why? Because you deserve better.
We're back, folks. Seven Rivers Racing, KQE GTV. I'm Dan Dykert. Thanks for joining us. Did make myself a couple of notes there during that break. The Outlaws are down to 1 point heading into Oktoberfest. It's going to be Scholze over Wayne Smith by 1 point heading into Fest. And I also forgot to mention that we can have one driver win 4 championships this year at the Crosse Speedway, believe it or not. And I don't think as long as I've been there that this has ever happened. Jason Bolster has already won the Bud Dash Championship. He was crowned Saturday. He could win the Thunderstock Championship if everything prevails come Oktoberfest race weekend. Well, Bolster is also the leader in the figure eights and the novelty. So Bolster could walk home with 4 trophies come banquet time and a whole bunch of speaking time up on the stage when we've got the banquet at the end of the year. Friday night, 200 laps of mayhem on the Action Track quarter mile at the Crosse Speedway. It's a $500 to win 4- and 6-cylinder enduro. We're going to run the 4s and the 6s at the same time on the Action Track quarter mile. If you need more information, you really need to hop on to CrosseSpeedway.com. The driver's entry list is there if you want to fill out the form and the rules as well. There's going to be a lot of cash given away. Oldest driver, minivan, a beauty contest, all kinds of really cool things to put into this enduro Saturday night. That's not the only ticket on the card. It's the Street Stock Championship that night. John Aaron pretty much just has to start the race, start the feature, and he's going to nail home the first ever Street Stock Championship at the Crosse Speedway. Also, September 6th, it is the 23rd annual Eve Destruction at the Crosse Speedway. 5,000 or 6,000 people jam the grandstands for this. We've got monster trucks, green Mamba jet cars coming back, the steel wall crash, a figure 8 race, rollover competition, trailer race of destruction, and a human bomb. Now, that part I don't know yet. Chuck won't let me know. We'll have to wait to see what happens on September 6th. Also, Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Season championship Friday night, and that's going to be their last end of regular weekly racing. And then the $100,000 weekend is coming up. That is the Bayman BMOD Nationals. Already we've got drivers from 17 different states being represented. Car count could be close to 250. That will be September 4th, 5th, and 6th. Make sure you get on MississippiThunder.com for more information. I want to welcome my guest into the program now, talking about points championships. He was in it, and then someone out of it, and now he is right back in it again. 6 points behind Greg Scheck, and that would be Steve Bachman. How are you, buddy?
How you doing?
Good to have you back on the program. Steve's a hard one to corral. Got to thank your employer for letting you off, because we've been trying to get him on all season long, and you finally got a break.
Yep, got to thank St. Joe's Construction for letting me take the day off. Started a little early this morning. Now I probably got to work late, but we're here.
Man, I tell you, I kind of go back, and you and I have talked on the track this year several times about what happened last year. You found yourself knee-deep in this thing all the way down to the end with Randy Humfeld, and then you kind of disappeared about midway through the season, and then you started coming back on. Almost had that happen again this year.
Yeah, we had a really good start. We usually do, and then the month of July, that always gets me. We had the wreck July 5th, and went from 19 points ahead to 22 behind in 2 weeks. And I told myself I'm going to keep digging, because I was 19 ahead now, and then I was behind. So I kept digging. Now 6 points going into my favorite race of the year, cool weather, which my car likes, and I'm gonna be giving it, and I'm gonna hopefully walk away with what we've been working for 2 years.
I tell you what, I mean, this has been the talk of the Crosse Speedway for, I would say, the past 6 or 7 weeks. Everybody, I mean, there's a lot of folks that would love to see Greg Scheck go and win a championship. He's got his set of fans out there. There's a lot of Bachman fans led by your father, who's on the hill every single weekend. And the way that this has really come down between Scheck and yourself has just been so entertaining. But now you're going to throw Nick Clements into the mix.
Yeah, he's really tough right now. Nick is really tough, and Greg's really tough right now, and myself, we're right there with him. And it's going to come right down to the checkered flag at Oktoberfest. Greg Scheck is one of the best sportsman drivers I've ever seen. I've been watching him. I asked him not too long ago, Greg, how long have you been doing this? Well, how old were you in 1989? Well, my parents might have thought about having me, but I wasn't even born yet. So he's been racing a long time, and I respect Greg. And we kind of had our own points race last year for second. It came down to Oktoberfest, and I beat him by 1 point at Oktoberfest, and that's all I need to beat him by this year. And
And that's going to be in the back of his head.
I hope I'm into his head right now. I've been really good lately, and he's been right there too, but I got to get him. I got to get him.
And what's interesting, folks, when I talked to Greg Scheck to start the season, he was really kind of unsure whether he was going to run a full season or not, and then luck just started coming around. His car got better. The track conditions were adhering to his car, and he found himself in a battle with you. And like you said, before that wreck on July 4th weekend, he was right there. Then after the wreck happens, he finds himself in the point lead. And I walked down to the pits and I'm like, so Greg, what happened to that part-time season? He goes, I think I'm going to stick around for the rest of the year. Well, to your advantage here, you find yourself right behind this. And we talk about points all the time, and I do it because I'm an announcer. I mean, that's what you have to do. You get the crowd jacked up. They want to hear what's going on. But as a driver, man, that's got to be nerve-wracking.
It is. It's very nerve-wracking, and I want to win a championship, but something tells me, like, I would rather just go out and chase wins every week. So we're going to hopefully get it done, then maybe we can just take first 2 nights off just so I don't ever have to worry about points again. Because I like winning. I'd just rather go out and win every race than worry about, do I go or do I not go? But then there goes Greg Scheck, and now he's points ahead of me, and now I got to find a way to get back. So. Well,
then the other thing is you've also got to watch behind you, because Nick Clements is only 18 behind Scheck, very attainable during Oktoberfest, and that will be the last race, is Oktoberfest race weekend. So you're trying to get the 7 points to top Scheck, but then you're also that 12 points at Clements is back, so you got them both front to back.
Yeah, and Oktoberfest will probably be 25 cars that start the feature. And you don't know who's going to be up front, what could happen up front. Me and Greg could end up having bad luck, and Nick could end up winning the race, and we're 20th. He wins. I'm just hoping that I have a good qualifying run, and hopefully I can cut that down in half, even going into qualifying, which I've had success this year doing. So if I can get him down to 3 points going into the Fest feature, the 14 car will be coming hopefully in the feature.
Steve Bachman, my guest in the program. We're going to talk more about his chase for the trophy coming up next. Segment 3 on 7 Rivers Racing.
We're here when the sun rises. And when the bread rises too. And we're here slicing a deli fresh every day. And every morning, we're chopping it all up. Why do we put so much effort into making it fresh? Because you deserve better.
Holman American Legion Post 284. It's all about veterans' rights, quality of life. The Legion belongs to the veterans it serves. The American Legion supports Holman High School sports and local NASCAR racing. Did you know the Legion is open to the public? Stop by for a cold one. Tuesday lunch is a home-cooked meal. Supper is Buck Burgers. Thursday, it's tacos. They can be the place for your wedding reception or meeting. Holman American Legion. It's for veterans and for the people of Holman.
Some of the best moments in life happen at home. American Standard Heating and Air works smarter to make them all more comfortable.
For a limited time, save over $600 on select American Standard systems. Call now for details.
Get ready for the Thunder!
The Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Your Friday night racing destination.
Every Friday night.
Super stocks, modified.
600 mods.
Pure stocks, street stocks, B-mods.
It's racing excitement, dirt track style. Tickets $12 for adults, $10 for seniors. Students free with an ID. And this year, kids 17 and under free with an adult admission. Friday night racing starts at 7.
Bring on the Thunder!
Dirt track style at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway.
Highway 35 just north of Fountain City.
We are back one more time, 7 Rivers Racing, KQED TV. I'm Dan Dyker. My guest, Grand National Sportsman driver Steve Bachman, who is knee-deep into a points race heading into Oktoberfest race weekend. As an announcer, I mean, I get jazzed on that because you not only have one driver, you not only have 2 drivers, now you have 3 that are going to be heading into Oktoberfest race weekend. One of the other cool things about this is Steve, there's no hatred amongst you guys. You get along with Clements. I see you guys talking in the pits all the time. You talk to Greg Scheck all the time. So the friendship you guys have built isn't like you have a lot of points championships where you got this guy just hates this guy and they can't wait to clash. It's not like that.
No, I've been good friends with Nick Clements for a long time, and over the past 5 years of racing Sportsman cars, me and Greg Scheck have become close friends, and we race each other very clean, and I can guarantee you me and Greg Scheck will race side by side for that championship without touching each other. I hope so anyways. But he's a very respectful driver. Nick's a very respectful driver, and it's been a fun summer, and we're still good friends, and we'll go into the winter, and whoever wins, we'll give crap to the other guy and make them dig next year to go get it.
Now, one of the interesting things is as you head into Oktoberfest, that Thursday, I think it's that Thursday night, you guys race.
Yep.
You've qualified fastest 7 times this year. Scheck knows that you can qualify fastest, and you've done it so many times this year. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens when you qualify. Scheck knows he's up by 6. You know he's going to be counting backwards in his head. He's going to be watching that scoreboard in turn 1.
Yep.
No matter what the qualifying spot is, he's going to be sitting there watching. You got to kind of wonder if he's going to be on the hammer to try to pick up a couple more points, or let you take those 1 or 2 and then say, hey, let the chips fall where they may come the feature. I mean, I love this chess match that can happen with this.
He could, but I would say without a heat race that he'll be going as hard as he can, which the qualifying number is 18, so that puts me just above last. And
so
I get to sit up there and I get to watch right up until the last one, and I couldn't be, I would trade all these fast times for this one right here. I want that speeding bullet in my hand. I've been so close 2 years ago. Jake Arneson beat me by like 1/100th of a second over it.
Oh, I mentioned Randy Humfeld.
Yeah.
Arneson won the track championship last year. Humfeld was a couple years ago, and Gilster was a handful of years ago as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of time between now and Oktoberfest. You darn near have almost an entire month. How much is this going to rattle your cage? Because 6 points. I mean, I watched you as you walked up the hill after Saturday night's races, and I'm going like this in the window, and you're like, no, it's 10. I'm like, you need to come up or look, you're only 6. Are you going to think about this every single day up until Fest?
I can't stop thinking about it. I keep looking at the positive side. Well, if I set fast time and he's 6th, we're going to 1 point in the feature, and all I got to do is beat him because it's 2 points per position.
Right.
And, if it comes down to, 2 to 4, well, then I got to win. Well, if I win, and we're tied, then it's 3 wins. I don't know. I'm hoping to have him down to all I got to do is beat him at the feature. And we won the Fest feature last year and was second the year before, so Oktoberfest feature's been going my way, and Scheck's been right behind me, but last year I gained 6 points in the feature on him, and hopefully, going into qualifying, I can cut him in half, and hopefully we just got to beat him in the feature.
And then again, Nick's going to be watching his rearview mirror because, again, Nick Clements had those 2 bad, unfortunate weekends. Matter of fact, that was that same 4th of July weekend. He got wrecked on the Thursday and the Saturday, and has just come on strong since.
Yeah. And actually, the top 3 have had a wreck. Greg Scheck had the one on the double feature night.
Right.
Where he wrecked really bad, and that's where I took the point lead, and then Nick wrecked on the Thursday night, and then I wrecked on the Saturday night, and now we were all right back in there going for what we all had a chance at, and then we all kind of like, oh, now what? Well, then we all wrecked, and so we're chasing each other again.
And then you got to throw in the likes of Jamie Dummer. I mean, Jamie Dummer slowly started to creep into the conversation. He was also a part of, I remember the one night he came out, half his car was a skeleton. Yeah. I mean, it's just been these 4 guys on any given night. But then you also have to realize that this field of Sportsmen, folks, is so strong. Jimmy Crackhorn Gilster, Dr. Noyes, Billy Martin, Brian Hesselberg won a feature here this past weekend. It's, we've centered this program on the points chase. We've talked about you and Greg Scheck, Nick Clements, but you've got about 5 or 6 other drivers out there, even Tom Lethe, maybe a wild card that can disrupt the whole thing on Thursday night of Fest.
Well, a lot of it's going to have to do with starting position going into the Fest feature. And, I mean, if there's a fast car in the pole, you might not get to the front like you think. If there's a low number, you're going to have 6, 7 cars that are fast in front of you, which me and Greg will have to work through, which
You've been stuck in several times this year.
I've been stuck, and I've been 8th, and thankfully every time I get stuck, Greg kind of does too.
Right.
But I mean, if a caution comes out with so many laps to go, who's leading? Do you go to the outside or do you stay to the inside? And what is he going to do? I mean, it's going to come right down to the checkered flag.
Here's a scenario I would love to see. I would love to see that there's 2 laps left, and well, I hope this doesn't happen though, but it would be cool. 2 laps left in the feature, Oktoberfest race weekend. You guys are tied for the point lead. The caution comes out. It's a double wide restart, and you both are on the front row for the last 2 laps.
I hope I'm on the inside.
You had your share of
we just had that 2 weeks ago. It was the first restart was me and Nick Clements, and the second one was me and Greg Scheck, and I held them off for the win. So if it is that, I hope I'm on the inside. The outside guy gets 2 laps until the car goes away. So if I have to dog Scheck out there for 2 laps, I would do it.
Hopefully Greg's not watching the program. Greg's been taking notes. Been a pleasure having Steve on the program again. We try to get him on all season long, and I want to thank your employer again is
St. Joe's Construction. Thank you for letting me come here, and thank all my sponsors: Nashonic Sports, Dudeman Grain Cleaning, American Roofing, C&L Services, The Hideout, Hyder Excavating, Toss Student Temp, Fastenal, Edward Jones, Naya Stables, Sunseekers Tanning, Mississippi Water Supply, Batesville Turf, Custom Craft Concrete, Big Nuts Deer Attraction, Gary's Painting, Lloyd's Speed Stop, Castle Realty, and TL Speed, Tony Lees. Thank you for everything this year.
And we would be remiss, and I want to save your hide here for a little bit. You got to thank Hare.
Got to thank my girlfriend for everything she supports. I'm at the shop 3 to 4 times a week and every Saturday, and she's there supporting me. And she wants to see me get it done, and she's 110% for everything that I've done this year. So thank you, Shannon.
I could just imagine what her scream would be like. She could be in Sparta, and if you win that track championship, you'd be able to hear her scream from Sparta all the way at the racetrack if that happens on Thursday Night of Fest.
Yep, you probably hear me too.
And well, I know who's louder, her or your dad?
Yeah, the old man. He likes to yell. Yeah, he gets excited too, but hopefully the 350 horse under the hood are screaming when we're lighting them up doing a burnout.
Well, I tell you what, folks, this has been a very spirited battle. Got to congratulate Greg Scheck and Nick Clements and Jamie Dummer, Steve Bachman, Dr. Noyes, Billy Martin, Jimmy Crackhorn Gilster, Brian Helselberg, Lethe, Eckelberg, the whole gang. Brad Worthen, who's almost got a couple feature wins this year, has to be one of the most entertaining sportsmen that I've been a part of the Crosse Speedway in the past 8 years there, and it's not done yet. Oktoberfest race weekend, jam the grandstands, get his camouflage on, put on Scheck's red and yellow, put on Clements lemonade apparel, because this thing is going to get really, really feisty come Oktoberfest race weekend. I want to thank Steve Bachman for coming in. I want to thank you for joining us. We will have a lot of programs coming up here, as we do have a slight break in the racing at the Speedway, but we're going to get you video from here to the end of October and a couple of special shows in between. For Steve Bachman, I'm Dan Dyker. Thanks for Jesse producing the program. We'll be back next week with more 7 Rivers Racing.